Everyone, David here, covering what is effectively one of those last little holy grail check marks on what people really want McFarlane to tackle before the license eventually expires. And one of the things that I think now, thanks to the power of the internet, is the now much better known fact that at one point, Billy D. Williams, who played Harvey Dent in the original '89 Tim Burton Batman, was set to become the iconic villain Two-Face. Except, of course, things kind of took a different turn in our current inhabited timeline where Joel Schumacher took over for the third Batman film. But in an Elseworld scenario, we were going to have a Burton third film with Keaton at the helm as the Dark Knight, maybe even Michelle Pfeiffer returning as Catwoman, but we were going to have Billy D. Williams actually become Two-Face, possibly Robin Williams turning out to be the Riddler, and then Marlon Wayans as Robin. Some morbid part of me almost kind of wishes to pay money just to see that. I kind of wishes to see that now in his 50s, but I digress. So, since that didn't turn out to really manifest on the big screen, somebody decided to actually cook it up on the small page, or rather, the much more cult favorite page that people prefer to read, which is, of course, comic books. This gave birth to an '89 Batman comic where we did kind of run with that idea, and we had the Billy D. Williams turn of Harvey Dent turn out to be Two-Face. Now, full transparency here, never really read that comic, and I understand that the intention for this figure to be packed in the form of a page puncher is to incentivize people to read that comic, and that's not to say that that's not going to happen to me. There is going to be a time where I'm going to have a little bit of time to kill and will eventually crack that first issue open, but at the same time, considering that prices for action figures have kind of skyrocketed, the Page Puncher DC Direct series under McFarlane has been losing a little bit of appeal for me, especially when you churn out what is effectively a red platinum variant that is difficult to find, especially since it's kind of building this aura around the Billy D. Williams incarnation of Two-Face here in figure form as a form of a grail to hunt down for, especially with the scarcity to track it down, especially with the way that it was selling out morning one on GameStop's website, and then eventually being found, like I said, in very limited quantities in Walmarts across the country, and all for what is effectively a very novelty-driven figure. And the reason for why I say that novelty and nostalgia and having that quirkiness and that really, like I said, pulpy nature to the fact that we could have had Billy D. Williams as a pretty decent looking Two-Face in some other alternate reality is truly what's selling this figure, because when you remove all that, it's really just another buck of the Two-Face variants that we've seen time and time again at the end of the day. And if you guys don't believe me, here he is next to the Silver Age Two-Face that I do happen to own right there, which is quite frankly an exact mirror copy of the buck, complete with the coin in the left hand and a more or less trigger hand for the right hand. And then in a somewhat similar but slightly varied fashion, we have who pretty much ended up taking over the role in the cinematic universe, which is going to be the Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face for Schumacher's interpretation of the Forever film. You could see right there, 1-to-1, the body is exactly the same. The creases to the pants, the texture on the surface of those limbs, as far as the arms and the legs are concerned. You have the sculpted hands pretty much being identical, save for that of the Two-Face that opted in for a pretty cool flipping kind of illusion to the right hand that was not carried on over from the other two here that have the actual coin sculpted directly into the two pinching fingers for the left hand, albeit with some variations in paint. But aside from that, it's completely the identical figure, to the point where you even have the buttoned sort of rubberized torso here, sporting what is kind of like this pot-belly sort of demeanor to it that I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't understand what's this infatuation with giving Two-Face a little bit of a pot-belly. Visually, you might not be able to point it out, but once you kind of feel the inside of the torso, which thankfully is not necessarily as hollowed out as some other figures I've been kind of criticizing lately, like the Black Mask or the Jack Nicholson Joker, or even worse, the Batman Begins Red Platinum Scarecrow that was completely hollowed out, save for the single rod that provides that articulation there in the middle. That's not necessarily the case. You definitely have some weightiness to all three of these figures, Billy D. Two-Face included. But at the same time, let's not mince words here. It's the identical exact figure that you've already held, just with a different coat of paint. And now, that's not to say that the paint is half-assed here, because I truly do think that the pinstripe half over on the left really does pop, especially punctuated with a little bit of red painted in for the little ascot or scarf or whatever, or handkerchief, whatever he's got going on there on the pocket. That really does pop and stand out. You have a much more bluish tint to the silverized paint apps for the coin on his left hand, as opposed to a very traditional chrome paint for like the Silver Age there, or even the different version that you have stylized over on the right hand for the Two-Face that I don't have on screen right here, but he definitely does come included inside of the box for his Build-A-Figure inclusion. And then when it comes to the tie, they decide to vary it up here by having the pinstripes kind of cutting across right there, similar to how it appeared in the comic, as opposed to the vertical kind of breakdown or the vertical slice like you have on the other two other Two-Faces. Now you'll notice that some of you may point out that there's technically a fourth Two-Face missing here that does share a little bit of similarities in terms of bug sculpting, which would have to be the Aaron Eckhart Dark Knight Christopher Nolan Two-Face for that Build-A-Bane wave. But I decided to opt them out, considering that there's enough differences in not just a little bit of the sculpting for the limbs, but most notably that torso piece, because of the way that they had to unbutton the jacket to mirror that exact look that he had in the movie. So that one had enough differences going for it, plus I was getting kind of lazy to pull it out and look for it in storage, and these are the two that I think mirror the Billy D almost to a T. And because that being the case very strongly, I gotta be honest, I really don't feel the need to point out so much of the articulation, because nothing about it really stood out to me, apart from, of course, a little bit of stagnation that needs a little bit of warming up with either a hairdryer or some boiling water. But apart from that, it's your traditional joints in terms of the bending of the elbows, the knees, the traditional swivel to the torso that leaves a lot to be desired because of the way that the coat is sort of covering it all up. So you're crunching and you're extending, and your oblique sort of bending is not necessarily going to be the most fluctuating there, but it does the job. And then of course your much more freely moving joints are going to be those found around the neck joint for the head articulation, as well as a little bit of the arms where you can sort of feel a little bit of flex in a butterfly motion, but that's not to say that there's a legitimate butterfly joint found in there. So apart from that, there's nothing to really signify the Billy D Two-Face figure, apart from, of course, the big thing that it's going to sell out of this figure. And no, it's not necessarily going to be the comic, the base, or the card, considering that, God forbid, that's really the only accessories were dealt with in a $30 page puncher. What's really going to sell this figure for that price point is going to be that Billy D. Williams Harvey Two-Face head sculpt. That is ultimately going to be the novelty that's going to make or break this figure for a lot of people. If that head sculpt speaks to you the way it actually did kind of work for me, then that's ultimately what's going to make your decision of picking this guy up, whether it be online or in store, and whether or not you're going to vie for the scalping prices that this guy eventually will probably fall into the trappings for. Because make no mistake, this is a pretty worthwhile head sculpt. It does lean a little bit towards that caricature side that McFarlane is known for when it comes to tackling real-life people, real-life likenesses. Look no further than some of the Nolan trilogy figures. But at the same time, a little bit of leniency could be given over to him, considering that this is technically lifted from a comic interpretation. So if you look at his illustrations inside of the comics that are supposed to resemble Billy D, it actually looks a little bit more one-to-one there, and you're able to forgive it. And it truly does pop, not only with, like I said, the paint apps for his normal Harvey Dent side here on the right, but then you look over at the left and kind of makes you genuinely wish very, profoundly as to what it would have been like if we really did see this particular version of Harvey Dent / Two-Face up on the big screen with that specific style to the makeup, the very enlarged eye that is kind of giving me flashbacks to an awful lot of like stop motion animation that Burton would inject into his movies. Look no further than the nightmarish Large Marge from Pee-wee's Great Adventure or whatever. As well as, of course, Beetlejuice and a handful of other movies that he had an awful lot of influence from stop motion on. And it kind of leans into that similar design that Burton is known for, but at the same time, it's difficult to ignore the influences that it probably had on the actual concept design for Two-Face in the animated series, specifically with the hue of blue for the acid burning that's happening right there on his skin, as well as the wrinkling effects, the stretchiness of the of the mouth there to expose a little bit of the teeth. They even carried on over the whiteness of not only the eyebrows, but even the mustache there in the middle. That is an incredible little detail that works on me and makes me laugh. But then you, of course, have the frills that are very reminiscent of Max Schreck's head sculpt for the Batman Returns wave. But at the same time, I'll admit it really works really effectively here. And that's really where the figure kind of sells it for me, especially since that's really what you have to work with pulling him out of the box. Because again, when it comes to page punchers, I don't want to sound ungrateful for the comic inclusion, especially when dealing with a comic that I have been wanting to read, 89 Batman, but at the same time, the money that I'm forking over is not going towards a comic, it's going towards a figure, and I'd rather have the rest of the inclusions inside the box at $30 to favor the figure. And so, trust me when I say that it's proving to be a difficult sell outside of novelty and nostalgia for this guy to be a recommendable figure, considering that this is it. He's got no extra hands, no weapons, which I formally understood despite the inclusion of a trigger hand on his right. So make of that what you will, whether it be with any kind of loosey accessories or weapons you might have. Maybe if you happen to own some of the McFarlane munitions packs just like I do, you're pretty much covered in that department. But outside of that, I still think that McFarlane could have tossed in like a pair of fists or something that would have been worthwhile and would have softened the blow of the $30. Because if you're trying to pitch this to someone that doesn't read comics, they're going to take that thing and just kind of toss it on over to the side. And sure, you could look at the card and the base, but apart from that, $30 is becoming an increasingly tough sell, especially in this economy. So an extra hand accessory pair or something else pulled from the comics would have been nice. Just having the figure in there with just so much negative space apart from the comic is not going to be the business for every collector. So unless you either read the original 89 comic run from its inception and the nostalgia is working on you, or there's just, like I said, enough of a quirky atmosphere to this figure or this novelty factor that makes you feel as a completionist to want to pick up before the license is up, then sure. But if none of those things truly do speak to you, I don't blame you whatsoever for wanting to pass him up. And at this point, you better leave it for those that truly want it. Otherwise, you're kind of diluting the market a little bit and giving kind of a little bit of justification for scalpers to raise those prices. Let the inventory be a little bit more widely available, which I think I've kind of been seeing pop up on GameStop's website a little bit more frequently as of late, and it's good to see that. Novelty and nostalgia are ultimately the keywords that are working in favor of this guy, and if that's working on you to want to pick this guy up, then go ahead and do so. Otherwise, you're pretty much good where you're at. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this review, hit the thumbs up button. If not, hit the thumbs down. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys picked up your own Two-Face and managed to get them shipped in from either GameStop or you found them out in the wild at Walmart, or if this is the kind of very niche figure that you look at and go, thank you for saving my money, McFarlane. Whatever you guys have to say, let it be known down in the comment section below. Subscribe if you guys haven't done so to the channel. Shout out to our executive producers over at the level 2 tier, Brian's new dishwasher. And as always, stay humble. Take care. See you guys later.